Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm so excited to celebrate with you today once again, Helene Cierzo. I can't tell you how amazing she is. Well, actually, I have. This is the third time I'm telling you because this is the third time I'm interviewing her. This time, Helene is going to be talking about Venus retrograde. 2023 has an incredibly important, massively special Venus retrograde season. And Helene is going to talk about that today, but also she's going to dive into it that much more deeply at the May 2023 speaker series at Synchronicity University. Right now, for a very limited time, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class to learn from Helene once again. She's returning to Synchronicity University, and I love her astrology name is Heart House Astrology. It's so perfect for her, as you're about to see. She has so much heart. Welcome, Helene. Thank you for being here.
Nadiya, what amazing, beautiful introduction. I'm so honored to be here. I adore you. I love everything about you, and you've been such an inspiration to me for like a decade, over a decade.
Wow,
So
thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think 2012 I started watching you. So it's
Wow.
over a decade now.
It means a lot to me that there are people who've been with me for so long. Like new people are always finding me, but then people who've been with me, it's just to have that trust, that's really what it feels like, that the trust has stayed for that long. It means a lot to me.
Absolutely. And to think that I was watching you to one day be on your own on your channel. It's just such
I know, right? And you've been on my channel, I know, a few times, right? You did your own video, you've been interviewed by me, and here we are. I mean, I just think that you're amazing. And the way that you do astrology, I absolutely love. And so, yes, people have gotten to know you on my channel. Let's jump into the juicy goodness, okay? I'm so excited to talk to you about Venus retrograde because I know that's going to be the focus of your upcoming class as well with Synchronicity University. But we're going to talk about it here today as well. And so, yeah, Venus retrograde in Leo, no less. And it's going to be making all kinds of incredible aspects to other planets. So, how are you understanding this Venus retrograde? Like, what are some of your thoughts?
Well, this Venus retrograde, I'm calling the go big or go home, because Venus in Leo likes to shine. It's brilliant. It wants to be adored and wants to feel pride and loyalty and just really shines so bright. It's such a beautiful Venus. I love people with Venus in Leo. They're just naturally shine, and they're so playful and fun. And so there's so many aspects going on in the sky, not so easy ones. But what I'll say is that this is not to be missed, this class, because everybody is going to be feeling this. Of course, if you have degrees that are getting hit by an aspect, you're going to feel it. But she's on a journey. She's talking to powerful players in the sky. This is not to be this. You're not going to not feel it. So you're going to feel it in life. This is no doubt. And I feel like this is Venus where, like last year, she was with Pluto, and, she's been on this journey, and now, she's going to go from, evening star to morning star during the retrograde, right? This happens every 18 months. And I might get off, I don't want to get off topic here, but we can look back to what was happening, around the summer, July of 2015, right? It was Venus retrograde at this time. And it wasn't Leo. It was the early Virgo, but it went through this time. So think about what was going on 8 years ago. What was going on in your love life, in your feelings of self-worth, and your ability to make money, and how you spend your money and finance, all the Venusian things. And this is almost like a to be continued, to see like how have you grown, how have you evolved, how have you shifted since the 8 years ago, right? And now she's on a like no business mission, like, she's the goddess of love and beauty, but she's also the goddess of war, right? So she has this like powerful energy about her. And I feel like this Venus retrograde is is really a wake-up call to step in to the higher level, because Uranus doesn't mess around. One of my favorites. I'm a Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon. So when Uranus is involved, we are not messing around and we are not going back. We are moving forward in levels of our heart and our worth in new ways. So, what's going to show up where we're not feeling adored, where we're not feeling proud of some area of our life, where we want to shine more. And why are we feeling that way? Are we connecting Pluto's going to show us, like, are we connecting in relationships that are disempowering? How can we get our power back, right? I'll
Yeah.
just keep talking, but I'm
No,
like,
no, I love it. And we'll keep talking about this, but a couple of things I just wanted to mention, because you said Venus is also goddess of war. And I wanted to mention, I know like in indigenous cultures in the Americas, she was considered goddess of war. She has been understood in such a varied ways. So I love
yeah,
that you brought that up, because a lot of people overlook that. And so I
yes,
love that you brought that up. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is, because you talked about 2015, and of course, as soon as you said that, I'm like calculating in my mind what was happening with me in 2015. And I will say 2015, Venus, as part of her retrograde, was trine Uranus. But this time, she's going to be square Uranus. So before it was a supremely harmonious energy of breakthroughs and understanding, this time it's an energy of tension. It's like surprises, maybe like what you don't want to look at, that just kind of shakes you and comes. I'm thinking, based on what you just were talking about, I love that you made that connection between Venus and stepping into your light, owning your light, being willing to feel good about yourself. Because yeah, just like you with Leo, a Leo Venus, it's like it's fabulous. Like that's
yeah.
it. It's about it's fabulous, and knowing your worth and walking into a room and knowing all eyes are on you. Yeah, but what if that fashion choice really falls flat, right? What if you walk into that room and that person that you love or you thought there could be love there is smooshing with somebody else? Smooshing? Smooching with somebody else. Right? It's a pretty intense energy, like just that Venus square Uranus. But then you also mentioned Pluto. So, can you touch on that Pluto aspect as well? Because I think that's going to be a quincunx, is it not?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I do feel I personally just had Pluto squaring my Venus this year. So, it's Pluto doesn't play around, and it's intense. But, I actually like I'm okay with it. Like I feel like Pluto changed me for the better and brought me deeper into love. Even the square, the message is where, like, where are you self-abandoning, right? Venus is about relationships. And I have Venus in Libra, so of course, like, Venus wants to please, Venus wants harmony. But what about, how are you showing up in ways that may be self-abandoning when you're trying to please and give and do what the other wants, right? So I feel like part of that is coming up, when you're looking at Pluto and thinking, like, what is it, how I'm showing up in relationships, that's my responsibility, that's what I'm doing is actually not for my highest good and not serving me, even though I may have been conditioned to think otherwise.
I'm thinking with Pluto, it might also be that we realize where we are being manipulated or where we might be doing the manipulating, but we haven't looked at ourselves more honestly. That could be one way also, right? Like with the
Yeah.
Uranus square and the Pluto quincunx. Now, interestingly, there's also going to be a Neptune quincunx as well.
Yeah, and
All
I've
these
been
other
thinking about
planets.
that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Which to
And
me is
like,
all about the illusion, the delusion. Like delusion is the right word, right? Like, how do you look at that?
well, I was thinking, like, again, in the self abandoning, what are you putting someone else on a pedestal? Like, are you putting someone else on that pedestal and self-abandoning and not really getting authentic like Uranus wants us to? And so that dynamic is disempowering. Pluto's not, Pluto's going to show us that. So, where are we seeing the person who's really there? Or are we seeing an ideal of what we want to be there? Or are we still holding on, even though in our heart of hearts, we know and we've been shown through all of this that this isn't what we thought it was. And like coming to terms with like Neptune is also about letting go, and it's hard to. And what are you holding on to that's past its due date? Because that is stopping you from really experiencing that adoration in your life and that love in your life that you're really seeking. So I think Neptune, I was thinking, would play out a little bit, could play out possibly like that.
Wow. I love that insight and how you explain that having to do with abandoning oneself. And we do that in so many different ways, don't we? Like, uh, I'll give you an example. I right now I'm thinking about, based on what this you were sharing, what's happening with my Venus right now, but we'll look at that a little later or in my own time. But, but I, realized I've been on quite a journey this past few months and really looking at, I've been like literally around the world. I've been to Spain, to Egypt, to Tunisia, to Germany. Now I'm in Rio in Brazil. And literally it's just been part of this one singular journey so far just this year. And right now in Brazil, like it's just been a time of so many mental breakthroughs of realizing how, yeah, that my own sense of shame around having stretch marks, having cellulite, how I've been so cautious about covering all of that. And then I came here to Rio, and women of every kind of body type you can imagine, every age you can imagine, is wearing a bikini. Like I was the only one on the beach in a one piece. And actually, here in Rio, it was the first time in my life that I wore a bikini, actually, the very first time in
Yes.
my life. Yeah. And
It.
yeah, and I didn't take pictures because I wasn't going to put it on social media because it's not about the performance of it, though there's nothing wrong with that. If that's you, have at it, enjoy, absolutely. But for me, it wasn't about that. For me, it was about the sun. Like I had gone to places where women were kept from the sun. Women were not allowed to feel the wind in their hair. And what that does to a person, it was so devastating to see that. And it's not that I think people should be able to do whatever they want, whatever gives them peace. And when you do what it is that gives you peace, you walk differently. And I saw that when you do what you are mandated to do, that you know isn't right, but you don't feel like you have a choice, that kind of woman walks like this. She walks differently. And I saw that and it broke my heart, I will tell you. Like every day since I saw that, I have literally cried tears of sadness. And it really has been being on the beach that has allowed me to get mad, like literally get mad, literally say, no, this lifetime, I am going to be in the sun. This lifetime, I'm not going to hide. I'm just not willing to do that anymore, whether it's a literal way of shame or whether it's in my own head and metaphorical and not wanting people to see my stretch marks, my cellulite. So I'm going to hide. I'm going to keep myself from the sun. I just am not willing to do that anymore. I'm just not willing. So it's been such a powerful and healing and emotional time, just that of just being okay with me and being present for myself, not being somewhere and thinking, oh my God, people are looking, people are going to see this, they're going to see that. I don't, to let all of that go and to just be present in the sun, in the wind has been a powerful, like, has allowed me these really deep understandings. So I share all this with you because I'm thinking about this Venus retrograde. I'm thinking about the power of women and what it is that they know is bull. Because I saw that also. I saw women being treated as less. And they knew that this was bull, like they knew it. And I saw it in them and it broke my heart. And I'm just hoping, this year, so many places in the world, women have been rising up. Women have been asking for freedom in a whole new way, in a very, like in ways that haven't happened in years and years in some parts of the world, for sure. I'm just very hopeful that this energy of Venus in Leo and all the outer planet transits, I'm just praying that it means more women will get to have what I have taken for granted my whole life, which is my freedom, really, just to decide for myself, how I'm going to walk in the world, what I'm going to wear, and to feel safe as I walk through the world, to have the absolute assumption that as I walk, I am safe. That feeling is something that I took for granted. I really did. I didn't realize how precious it was until I saw women who didn't have that and what that meant. And so, yes, you're sharing all this stuff, and I'm looking at it in so many layers, right? Like women who are saying, I don't want to cover my hair. Like literally, that's it. They're saying, this is not for me. It can be for some people and women, and that's amazing. That's great. I love that women have a choice to do that. But the women who choose not to do that, and they are being punished, they are being persecuted, they are being held in jail because they said that is not for me. And I have taken for granted that I just assumed I had that choice because I did. I just always had that choice. Yeah. I wonder how it's going to come together. We always, as astrologers, do, but then we look at the symbols and we also hope, right? We hope.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, sensitive, vulnerable side of your experience as a woman and beauty. And I can relate to that as well. For a long time, I wouldn't wear short sleeves. I mean, I wouldn't wear shorts. Like I was so, like my arms aren't toned and I have cellulite and I have stretch marks, same thing. And I have shifted the past few years, thankfully. I've been wearing a bikini and I'm not skinny for since Meta was born, because I wanted her to see that you're beautiful, and so I was really mindful of like what I was teaching, and it made me like change. But what I really realized, I don't know when I realized this, but I did realize is that I don't exist to be beautiful. And I have 5 planets in Libra. But right, my existence isn't to be beautiful. And I think the culture that I grew up in, there's an unattainable beauty standard that young girls are given to feel that they need to achieve. And what do we have right now? We have, I mean, so many people, and people do you, but very young people start getting into cosmetic surgeries, which please don't do on a side note during Venus retrograde, but I'm going to go back to my topic here. Right. We'll get to that. So much feeling of body altering and stuff. And it's not even about, do you do what you want? But my focus as a human being is not to be beautiful. Yes, I love to be beautiful. I'm ruled by Venus. But spending all my energy, I got to work out 3 hours a day. I got to get my hair. My life isn't revolving around trying to create this unattainable beauty standard. I have much more to offer. I want to help empower women. I want to help educate. I want to use my mind in brilliant ways. I want to be part of making positive change in the world. I don't need to just sit there and look pretty and spend all my time and my life on that. So that whole story about just like beauty, it's just another way to disempower women. And women, we have to step away and just like do what feels good, but just part of the liberation is realizing that, I think, that you are so much more.
Wow, it's incredible. I don't exist to be beautiful. That's amazing. I mean, I do have Venus conjunct my moon. And so I love the girly stuff. I got to admit that I do love most of it, it's still a Sag moon after all. It's going to be doing its own thing. But I do love some of the girly stuff. But to have that realization that, yeah, that's fine. It's fun, enjoy, have at it like I do. But we don't exist for that. We exist to live. We exist to be present. We exist to learn about ourselves. And as you said, figure out what our contribution is going to be. And to do that as much as we can and as much as feels right for us. It's an incredible distinction, isn't it? Amazing. Okay, I want to just say again, as you said, no plastic surgery. Yes, let me just say that with you. Let's yell it from the rooftops because it is
No
going to be no plastic surgery, please. It is going to
no
be
tattoos.
or tattoos, yes, or piercings for that matter, or like new treatments or chemical peels. I don't know if you ever saw that episode of Sex and the City where Kim Cattrall's Samantha, she has an impulse purchase of a chemical peel, and it just, I mean, she looks shocking.
Yeah, remember that?
Don't do that.
Sex and the City fan. Yeah, we don't want that happening, friends. We don't want that.
Yeah, it's not like the thing is, whenever a planet is retrograde, you're not basically you'll change your mind or you're not seeing things clearly or accurately where it comes to what that planet symbolizes, what it represents. And Venus has to do with beauty. Yes, she has to do with money, feeling generous, but she's also about love. She's about love. And so if you meet somebody new, I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be, that it won't work out. It might. I mean, I know for me with my ex, I was with him for 7 years, which I think is a good, amount of time to be with somebody to say that it was a successful relationship. But basically, when we met, like just sort of casually among a group, Venus had just gone into shadow. The day Venus went retro, we started dating. And things just accelerated really fast. And I remember the day Venus went direct. I mean, it was so hilarious because he wasn't an astrologer or anything. But Venus goes direct, and he tells me that he is actually much younger than he told me he was.
Yeah.
But he didn't want me to know because he thought that he wouldn't have a chance with me or whatever. So, I mean, it was shocking. It left me thinking, oh my God. But it wasn't a deal breaker. And I still felt a lot of love for him, enough to move through 7 years with him. And so, yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but I got to say, this Venus retrograde, Uranus square, Pluto, Neptune. Yeah, don't marry anybody under this. That's for sure. No,
don't get married during this.
Yeah, that's very, very classic an understanding. You don't want to get married during Venus retrograde. If you meet somebody new, whatever you think it is in the beginning, it's going to end up being something very different. What else? What else would you say?
I just think that possibly, and I don't know, I do believe in past lives personally. So I do feel that sometimes during a Venus retrograde, you can have what's like a past life partner show up. That's a personal belief. I think that might be, I don't know if you'll agree, but I do feel that. And that's why it's like, you don't know where this is going, but you're just such, when Venus is closer to the Earth when, she's in the retrograde cycle. So the Venus qualities are strong and the desire is strong. And so love is on offer, that's going to show up. And, it could be someone where I feel like it's a past life connection coming back in. And that could be to proceed forward or to fill out some karma, if you will, right?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Just because there's a past life connection doesn't mean it needs to be forever and ever. It might just be like a few months or whatever, right? Whatever, as you said, the karmic contract. Yeah, I love that you put it that way, that we tend to attract people where there is some karmic contract. But that, again, that doesn't mean, according to me, I think that, you can have karmic contracts with people and they can be fulfilled in a span of some time. That's how I felt with my ex.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I love that you mentioned that those karmic contracts, because yes, you're so right. meeting my ex during that Venus retrograde. It was a karmic contract, that's for sure.
Yeah, some unresolved, karma to sort out, right? And that's you've agreed upon that in the soul contract, but in my opinion. But so I do feel like that could happen where you're just like, this is like I feel this connection with this person, and it's deep because it's ancient, right? And then what else did I want to say? Sometimes, oh yeah, the ex comes back, right? During a Venus retrograde. That doesn't necessarily mean you should go back to them, but maybe this is another process of, thinking about love and like how were you showing up back then in that partnership? This is a mirror to that. This is an opportunity to say, wow, when I was with them, 10 years ago, I was a totally different person. The way I responded to love was totally different. And then, you can maybe say like, wow, I'm sorry if I was like this then. And, but I always wish you the best, or maybe if there's going to be a chance people get back together, there's always that chance, right? If the stars align and they're doing their inner work, and if it's meant to be, that's a possibility. But I think, when the exes come back, it's an opportunity to see like how you have grown and evolved since that relationship.
Incredible. I absolutely love it. So yes, be mindful. Like some people are like, oh my God, you're going to get back with your ex. Don't do that. And I mean, look, like I said, some pretty intense aspects, but we do want to also let people know you reminded me that this Venus retrograde is also going to trine Chiron. So whatever happens, yes, it may be intense, it may be confusing or disillusioning with Neptune, and it might be shocking with Uranus, but at least it'll also be healing. It'll be healing. Yeah.
There's an opportunity to heal and see in our hearts like where we can do love differently and where we can love ourselves more, right?
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Helene, I love hanging out with you. I love talking to you. You guys remember, Helene is going to talk all about this Venus retrograde of this summer of 2023 at the speaker series of May 2023 at Synchronicity University. For a very limited time, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class to learn from Helene and other incredible speakers. Helene, I love you. You're brilliant. I love your heart. I'm sending you massive hugs. I wish I was hugging you again because we did have a chance to hug in January 2020 in New York City. Now, after that, yeah, there was no hugging, but let's see where the universe wants to take us to connect again in person. But it's great. We get to stay in touch online and to have you back at my school. I'm just so happy. Thank you, Helene.
I love you, Nadiya. Thanks for having me again. I just feel my heart bursts when I talk to you. I just feel like I have such great conversations and I just feel the love. And I just feel I just appreciate you so much and adore you. You're amazing and inspirational woman.
Oh, I love you. Thank you. We love each other. Thank you again, Helene. And thank you so much for watching. Until we connect again, take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.